the sleepy hamlet of Milfield, where the rhythm of life hums softly beneath a canopy of ancient oaks and the distant whistle of a freight train punctuates the stillness, a forsaken edifice looms atop a windswept hill, its silhouette a brooding monolith against the ever-shifting sky. Milfield General Hospital, once a sanctuary of solace and science, now stands as a skeletal ruin, its boarded windows like hollow sockets and its sagging roof a testament to decades of neglect, whispering secrets of a past shrouded in shadow. My odyssey into its forsaken depths began not as a deliberate plunge into the macabre, but through an improbable bond with Brock Sullivan, a figure whose larger-than-life persona had once clashed with my introspective solitude. What unfurled from a modest senior-year photography project was a harrowing descent into a realm of dust, decay, and the uncanny resonance of voices that defied the natural order. This is no mere ghost story spun from idle campfire tales. It is a meticulous chronicle forged from tangible evidence, photographs frozen in time, hand-drawn maps etched with mystery, and the fragmented testimonies of those who dared to remember. As you immerse yourself in these pages, ponder this. Are you bold enough to gaze into the abyss, or does the shiver of unseen eyes upon you counsel retreat? The genesis of this tale traces back to the sterile glow of Milfield High's library, a sanctuary of quiet where I, Ryan Mitchell, bent over a cluttered table strewn with glossy photographs of local architecture, each image a silent plea for preservation amid the town's relentless march toward modernity. The pictures, faded brick facades weathered by seasons, storefronts cracked like parched earth, and alleyways cloaked in shadow, captured a Milfield suspended in amber, a place where history lingered in every peeling paint chip and rusted hinge. This was my sanctuary, a refuge from the clamor of adolescence, where my camera lens became both shield and sword in a battle to document a vanishing world. Into this haven burst Brock Sullivan, a whirlwind of energy whose reputation as the school's resident jester preceded him like a herald's fanfare. With his booming laugh and tales that invariably cast him as the gallant protagonist, he was a polarizing figure, adored by some, endured by others, and, for me, a tolerable annoyance I preferred to avoid. His jokes, often landing with the graceless thud of a dropped anvil, and his stories, brimming with self-aggrandizement, had cemented my resolve to keep him at arm's length, my focus tethered to the click of my shutter rather than the cadence of his voice. Yet, on that crisp October Thursday, as I sifted through snapshots of downtown's forgotten relics, warehouses with broken skylights, storefronts abandoned mid-century, Brock's shadow fell across my work, an intrusion I steeled myself to deflect with a polite nod and a fabricated excuse. For 10 minutes, he lingered, an uncharacteristic silence cloaking him as he watched me flip through my portfolio, his usual manic grin supplanted by a contemplative frown. When he finally spoke, his voice was a hushed murmur, as if imparting a confidence meant only for my ears. "You know there's an abandoned factory about 20 minutes outside town, right?" he said, his eyes darting toward Mrs. Henderson, the librarian whose withering glare could silence even the most boisterous troublemaker. Built in the 1940s, he elaborated, it retained its original machinery, a veritable time capsule untouched by the hands of progress. I glanced up, poised to brush him off with a rehearsed line about deadlines, but his expression halted me. His wild smile vanished, replaced by a sincerity that caught me off guard, his gaze tracing the contours of my photographs with an interest that seemed genuine. "How do you know what's inside?" I ventured, my skepticism a thin veneer over burgeoning curiosity. "Because I've been there," he replied, leaning closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Last weekend, I found a way in through a loading dock that doesn't lock anymore. The place is incredible, like stepping back in time." His words unfurled a vivid tapestry, rusted gears glinting in shafts of sunlight piercing shattered windows, conveyor belts stretching into inky shadows, and the ghostly imprint of workers' lives preserved in dust-coated tools and half-finished tasks. I scrutinized him, searching for the telltale smirk of a jest, but Brock's detail was precise, his enthusiasm unfeigned as he described the factory's layout with the fervor of a historian. "Want to see it?" he proposed, his invitation a tantalizing bait. In retrospect, I should have declined, should have clung to the safety of photographing facades where the law's reach ended at the property line. Yet, the prospect of witnessing industrial history frozen in amber, machines halted mid-cycle, the echoes of labor etched in every abandoned implement, ignited a spark of intrigue I could not extinguish. What if we get caught? I countered, my practical nature asserting itself. We won't, he assured, his confidence a contagion that seeped into my resolve. It's been empty for 15 years. No one checks on it anymore. That Saturday dawned with a chill that mirrored my apprehension. Yet I found myself at the Milfield manufacturing plant, a sprawling brick leviathan encircled by a chain-link fence strangled with overgrown weeds. Brock's description held true. The loading dock's metal door, warped by time's relentless grip, yawned open just wide enough for us to slip through, the rusted edges scraping against our jackets as we entered. Inside, a vast chamber unfolded, its air heavy with the metallic tang of rust and the musty breath of neglect. Conveyor belts snaked into the gloom, flanked by machinery shrouded in decades of dust. Their silent forms a monument to a bygone era. Workbenches bore the spectral remnants of their last occupants. Coffee cups petrified with grime, hand tools abandoned mid-task, as if the workers had vanished into thin air, leaving their lives suspended in a single moment. For 3 hours, I roamed this cathedral of decay, my camera capturing the hulking steam boilers, their valves encrusted with corrosion. The time clock by the entrance, its employee cards scattered like autumn leaves, and the faint scrawl of graffiti etched into a wall, a modern defacement layered over history. Brock, to my surprise, proved an adept companion, navigating unstable floors with a quiet grace, his instincts leading me to the most evocative corners. Offices where ledgers lay open, their ink faded to ghosts, and upper rooms where sunlight fractured through broken panes, casting kaleidoscopic patterns on rusted steel. More than a thrill-seeker, Brock revealed a depth I hadn't anticipated, unearthing human stories from yellowed newspaper clippings he'd scavenged. Accounts of the plant's abrupt closure in the early 2000s, the names of families who had poured generations into its furnaces and looms. These buildings are like time capsules, he mused as we ascended a creaking metal staircase to the second floor, our footsteps echoing in the hollow space. Everyone drives past them, but they're full of stories no one bothers to learn. That afternoon marked a seismic shift. The brash classmate who had once irritated me transformed into a partner, his boundless energy channeling into a shared passion for resurrecting forgotten narratives. Over the ensuing months, we forged an unofficial alliance. Brock scoured online forums and tapped into a loose network of urban explorers for leads, his enthusiasm a beacon, while I contributed my photography skills and historical research, elevating our ventures beyond mere trespassing into a mission of preservation. We ventured into a textile mill where looms still gripped half-finished fabric, its office a mausoleum of 1980s personnel files yellowed with age, an abandoned elementary school where 3 floors of classrooms stood frozen, whiteboards inscribed with lesson plans, children's artwork curling on bulletin boards, the air thick with the scent of chalk dust and memory. Each site unveiled layers of the region's industrial tapestry, the communities that had thrived and withered, their stories etched in every cracked tile and discarded toy. Our partnership thrived on balance. Brock's willingness to take risks tempered my tendency to overanalyze, while my meticulous documentation complemented his knack for uncovering hidden chambers within larger structures. By graduation, we had documented over a dozen sites across 3 counties, our hobby evolving into a ritual that sustained us through the transition to college. Even as we scattered to different campuses, we carved out weekend expeditions whenever home brought us together, our bond deepening with each creaking floorboard and whispered legend. This was the foundation upon which our most harrowing chapter would be built, a prelude to a darkness that would test the limits of our courage and sanity. Chapter 2. The Call to the Abyss. The turning point arrived on a Tuesday evening, the clock ticking past 8 p.m. as I sat in my cramped apartment, the soft glow of my laptop illuminating a gallery of photographs from our latest adventure. A grain elevator abandoned since the late 1990s, its silos standing like silent sentinels against a graying sky. The images captured the interplay of light and shadow on rusted metal, the detritus of a lost industry scattered across concrete floors. My phone's sudden vibration shattered the stillness, Brock's name flashing on the screen. His voice, devoid of preamble, crackled with urgency. "I found it," he declared, the words tumbling out like a dam breached. "The one we've been waiting for. Milfield General Hospital, the old psychiatric wing on the hill. I've been trying to get inside for 2 years." The name struck a chord, conjuring the hospital's imposing silhouette, a brick behemoth visible from nearly every vantage in the valley, its reputation as a haunted relic woven into Milfield's folklore. "Brock, that place is supposed to be haunted," I cautioned, my tone measured to avoid stoking his penchant for the supernatural. He laughed, a sound that danced between dismissal and delight. "Patients who never died, voices calling from empty rooms, mysterious disappearances. Classic small-town ghost tales," he said, though his excitement hinted at a fascination beyond mere skepticism. The hospital's lore was rich with whispers, stories of spectral patients wandering its halls, of staff vanishing without trace. But it was its physical presence that intrigued me. The broken windows, the sagging roof, the sheer scale of its decay promised a treasure trove of photographic material, a chance to document a chapter of history sealed away. "How would we even get in?" I asked, recalling the hospital's reputation for being locked tight since its 1987 closure. Its doors guarded by chain and padlock, its windows fortified with weathered boards. "Leave that to me," Brock replied, his voice brimming with anticipation, a tone I recognized from his best discoveries. "I've studied the layout for months. Old blueprints scavenged from online archives, maintenance records pieced together from obscure sources. There are ways in if you know where to look." His enthusiasm was infectious, yet this venture felt weightier, a departure from our usual weekend jaunts. "This Friday night," he proposed, "a serious expedition, not just a quick look." The timing aligned with my schedule, and the prospect of photographing Milfield's most infamous ruin was a siren call to my artistic ambitions. But Brock pressed further, his words a gentle prod. "You're not getting cold feet, are you? Lately, you've been playing it safe." The accusation stung, a mirror to a truth I'd avoided. Our recent explorations had leaned toward accessible sites, avoiding the legal tightropes of more daring incursions. "I'm not backing out," I retorted, "but we need to be smart about this." He acquiesced, outlining a plan that included cameras, extra batteries, heavy-duty flashlights, and even bolt cutters for recalcitrant locks, his commitment a reassurance. The week that followed was a deep dive into the hospital's shrouded past. I pored over newspaper archives in the dim light of the local library, uncovering its 1923 inception as a general hospital, its psychiatric wing a hub of activity until 1987, when allegations of abuse and experimental treatments cast a pall over its legacy. Official records described a modest basement for utilities and storage, but whispers of hidden levels persisted, fueled by grainy photographs and cryptic testimonies. By Friday afternoon, my apartment was a warren of research, 3 notebooks brimming with notes, a checklist of equipment meticulously compiled. At 8:30 p.m., I pulled into the gas station parking lot, spotting Brock's weathered Honda Civic beneath a stuttering streetlight, a manila folder clutched under his arm. "Right on time," he grinned, his expression alight with the thrill of the hunt as I hefted my camera bag. Body, extra lenses, backup batteries, and a small tripod for deliberate shots. He unfurled the folder on his car's hood, revealing photocopied floor plans from county archives, their edges blurred by time. The maps delineated main hallways, office areas, and patient wings radiating from a central hub. But the basement was a void, a blank expanse where the building's footprint suggested hidden depths. "Satellite photos show a larger foundation," Brock noted, tracing the outline with a finger. "There's more down there." The drive to the hospital was a tense climb, the winding road framed by skeletal trees, the building's dark mass emerging through the foliage like a beast awakening. We parked 200 yards away, concealed by a cluster of pines, the December air a frigid bite against our skin, our breaths forming fleeting clouds. The silence was profound, the valley's streetlights a distant grid, sound swallowed by the hill's peculiar acoustics, a phenomenon Brock attributed to its topography, though it felt more like a deliberate hush. We circled the structure, our boots crunching through patches of snow, the hospital's brick walls rising 3 stories, its wings stretching like arms to embrace the night. Most ground floor windows were boarded. They were weathered and splintered, but on the south side we found our entry, a window frame, glassless and rotted, its opening a portal into the unknown. Inside, the administrative wing assaulted us with a stench of mold, water damage, and a faint, unidentifiable decay, a cocktail of neglect that clung to the throat. An office greeted us, its metal desk tilted against a wall, water stains blooming across the ceiling like dark flowers, wallpaper hanging in tattered strips to reveal crumbling plaster. Papers littered the floor, sodden and illegible. Though one sheet hinted at a patient intake form, its ink bled into obscurity. Brock's camera flash erupted in harsh bursts, illuminating graffiti layered across a wall. Some recent, some faded, and furniture stacked as if to barricade the windows. A futile gesture against time's advance. I joined him, my lens capturing the desk's open drawers spilling papers, the overturned filing cabinets, and the peeling paint once green, now a mossy relic, each frame a piece of a puzzle abandoned mid-assembly. Deeper we ventured, stepping into a main corridor where the cold deepened, a chill that seeped through our jackets, our breaths crystallizing in the flashlight beams. The hallway stretched into shadow, its walls marred by water stains that wept downward, chunks of plaster littering the floor like fallen stars. Patient rooms flanked us, their rusted bed frames pushed against walls, mattresses long vanished, dust so thick it invited finger-traced messages. A small window near the ceiling, boarded but gapped, allowed thin slivers of moonlight to pierce the gloom, illuminating old medical equipment. Trays, scalpels, a call button yellowed with age, its cord dangling like a lifeline severed. I photographed the beds from multiple angles, the scratched initials near the headboard a cryptic signature, wondering if they belonged to a patient or a desperate staff member. Brock called from across the hall, his voice echoing faintly in the muffled space. In another room, 3 beds formed a semicircle, their frames equally rusted, but personal items remained. Slippered shoes beside one, 1980s magazines fanned near a window, and a small ceramic horse figurine perched on the sill, its glaze catching the light. They left in a hurry, Brock observed, his flash capturing the magazine's dates. December 1987, the cusp of the shutdown. We spent the next hour cataloging room after room, each a snapshot of lives interrupted. Clothes folded on chairs, letters half-written, staff areas with clipboards bearing shift schedules, coffee cups fossilized on desks. The nurse's station was a trove of evidence, its main desk buried under charts and paperwork, some weighted by medical-themed paperweights, stethoscopes, syringes, file folders strewn across the floor, their contents blurred by water damage. A large scheduling board dominated one wall, patient names in colored markers denoting treatment plans or meal times, all ceasing abruptly before Christmas 1987. Behind it, medication charts hung from hooks, dosage schedules for names I couldn't pronounce but conditions that spoke of severity, schizophrenia, catatonia. Brock pored over administrative logbooks, his finger tracing entries to the day before the closure, then a stark void. They were processing new admissions, he said. Then nothing, like someone flipped a switch and walked away. The building's acoustics grew more unsettling, our voices muffled as if the walls absorbed sound, our footsteps quieter than they should have been on debris-strewn floors. I clapped my hands, the sound vanishing instantly, a phenomenon Brock attributed to water damage altering sound travel, though we both raised our voices unconsciously, a futile attempt to reclaim audibility. Our exploration led to the East Wing, where the corridor shifted, walls painted institutional white instead of the faded green elsewhere, floors showing less water damage, a stark contrast to the decay we traversed. 8 doors lined the hall, each bearing signs of authorized personnel only, restricted access, medical staff clearance required. 7 hung open, revealing concrete rooms with heavy-duty electrical outlets, their emptiness a stark canvas. The 8th door, at the corridor's end, was sealed with a newer deadbolt, its metal gleaming compared to the rusted fixtures around it. Taped to it was a white paper, its red-inked block letters pristine. "Keep out. You are not alone." The paper's freshness, unmarred by water, mold, or fading, clashed with the surrounding ruin, a jarring anomaly that sent a shiver down my spine. Brock laughed it off as a prank by local kids, pulling his lockpick set from his cargo pants with the confidence of experience. I hesitated, the warning's condition gnawing at me. Unlike the decayed relics around it, it suggested recent presence. Whoever left this might have had a reason, I argued, but Brock was undeterred. It's just folklore to keep people out of dangerous structures, he said, his picks working the lock with a skill honed over years. The deadbolt clicked, and he pushed the door open, revealing a maintenance room. Concrete walls, exposed pipes, a warmth that defied the corridor's chill. The air carried a chemical tang, sharper than antiseptic, a stale medical scent that hinted at disuse. I shed my gloves, feeling heat from an unseen source, the pipes cold to the touch. Leftover boiler heat, Brock suggested, but the warmth's intensity, contrasting the building's deeper cold, felt anomalous. His flashlight swept a metal shelving unit, revealing tools and supplies, and then, a laminated map in a plastic sleeve, far more detailed than the county plans. It outlined exact room layouts, hallway measurements, utility lines, and multiple basement levels. Morgue facilities with cold storage rooms, and a special treatment wing with rooms ST1 through ST12, isolated from main floors. Access codes, emergency lockdown, staff evacuation, containment system activation, echoed correctional protocols, not medical ones. A reinforced door at the room's rear, its locks cut and recently used, led to a stairwell, its air warm and chemical-laden, a mechanical buzz pulsing below. Brock descended, his light fading, his voice calling back with eerie repetition. "Come down immediately." His screams pierced the silence, raw with terror, followed by a flat, "Help me," repeated in unison by multiple voices mimicking his tone with uncanny precision. Panic surged as footsteps ascended, chaotic and multitudinous, the corridor stretching impossibly, landmarks repeating. My flashlight died, and warmly lit patient rooms with fresh flowers appeared. A surreal shift. Brock's voice whispered in my ear, and I fled through the window, collapsing in the snow. Miles away, I was found unconscious, but the hospital showed no entry, no broken window, no basement. Police found no trace of Brock, the basement filled with concrete since 1995. My memories clashed with reality, leaving me haunted by voices outside my window, a hospital that collects darkness. Weeks later, the void left by Brock's disappearance weighed heavily, police investigations yielding nothing. No footprints, no forced entry, only a sealed building. My vivid recollections, floor plans, the map, the stairwell contradicted official records. A daylight revisit with Officer Carter revealed intact boards, a blank wall where the maintenance room should be. The hospital's history, unearthed through archives, spoke of abuse, experimental treatments, and voices reported by patients and staff, mimicking loved ones to lure them deeper. Dr. Margaret Hensley's notes hinted at shared hallucinations, yet staff corroborations suggested otherwise. The building, officially empty, felt alive, its darkness waiting for the next explorer. As you delve into this tale, ask yourself, would you dare explore such a place? Or does the echo of the unknown keep you at bay? Join us on this journey into the hollow, where every shadow holds a story.